Hey guys, it's Alec here. Today we're going to be looking at the top 10 do's and don'ts of SATB part writing in music theory. Let's begin. So coming in at number 10, we got using non-chord tones. Here I have two passages that I made, and one has non-chord tones and one doesn't. You should listen to the difference. So yeah, clearly this one has many more non-chord tones. Escape tone here, many passing tones here, chromatic passing tone, another passing tone. Just lots more interesting stuff going on. This is a really great way to make your music more interesting. And yeah, coming in at number nine, we have using law of the shortest way. This is a really nice way to make your music sound as smooth as possible. It's not super high on the list because I don't like that it's a law. I don't think music should have laws. I think that's kind of silly, but yeah. Pretty smooth, right? Okay, coming in at number eight, we got using the 164 chord. It's a good way to strengthen and lengthen your resolution to your one chord, pretty good. See how amazingly strong that resolution felt. That's pretty cool. Coming in at number seven, we got voice your chords properly and using proper doubling. This doesn't have an example because basically all these examples are going to have proper doubling and proper voicing because they're the correct examples, unlike the second half of the video. But yeah, just use double the third when you're using a um first inversion chord, double the fifth when you're using a second inversion chord. And that's just in general, you should. It's not a complete rule, but you should do it most of the time. But it depends. Coming in at number six, we got using secondary dominance. Pretty cool. I like them. You should use them. Number five, we have including satisfying stepwise motion. This is pretty comparable to number nine, but I included it as its own separate thing because, listen to how nice that was. So I think it's its own separate thing. Yeah. Coming in at number four, we have pay attention to cadences. I didn't write an example for this one, but thankfully we have this uh Frederick Handel playing us his own example. So let's listen to this. Half cadence, half cadence, again, half cadence. And that's that whole page, I guess, right here. And it ends with that perfect authentic cadence. So it's preceded by three half cadences, making it very satisfying. So yeah, this guy Frederick Handel's a pretty brilliant writer, though. I can't wait for him to release some more music. Anyways, back to my own muse score thing. Coming in at number three, two, and one, we have using motifs, making each part of equal importance and complexity, and using combination of all the different types of motion. This is a longer example that I made that it showcases all three, so let's listen to it first. It's cute, right? Anyways, motifs. So clearly the motif here are these 16th note sequences, the last one or two beats, and in one or two of the voices at a time, oftentimes using this up for one beat, down for one beat motion, as shown in the bass here, and then in the alto here, and then in the tenor here. And another part is where I use a dotted eighth note into 5/16 notes, use that twice here, and then finally we go with a down up contrasting motion in these 16th notes here. So basically, motifs, the thing about motifs, the more you repeat a musical idea, the more valid it becomes. So yeah, you should do that. And then making each part of equal importance and complexity. Um, Yeah, I think I did a pretty all right job of that here. Music is much more interesting when there's different or the same amount of complexities in many of the parts. I didn't word that right, but I think you get what I'm saying. Make them of equal importance. Don't make them, for example, I didn't give the bass just a fundamental foundation quality. I gave it its own interesting parts and stepwise motion and stuff. And then at number one, using combination of all the different types of motion. Clearly here you can see lots of oblique motion, contrary motion, parallel motion, um, etc. The other ones. So yeah, those are all that's the top 10 do's of music theory part writing. Now, second page we have the don'ts. So this is pretty hideous. Uh, so number 10, writing parts out of their range. Pretty despicable, right? I mean, the reason it's at number 10 is because obviously, if you're playing an instrument besides the voice, it's really an irrelevant rule. But the ranges were created for a reason, and that's because soprano, alto, tenor, bass reflects the human voice. So if you're writing for singers, don't torture them by writing out of their range. Basically, that's all that means. And then number 9, we have crossing voices. Sounds fine, but as you can see, the soprano is below the alto here, so that's pretty bad. I mean, I've sung music where the voices were crossed and it's fine, but it's against the rules according to Frederick Handel, so don't do it. Number 8, not using proper spacing. You're only allowed to have one octave between soprano and alto. Same goes for alto and tenor. And then the bass and tenor can have up to 2 octaves, but anything more than that is not allowed. And that's displayed in number 10. So I didn't make an separate example for it. Not resolving the seventh in a 5/7 chord down to the scale degree below it. So listen to this. Um, Maybe you did catch it, maybe you didn't. 5/7 chord on the third beat. This is the seventh, and it resolves up instead of down to the third of the tonic, as you'd expect it to. Not egregious in my opinion, but for the most part, it's just unsatisfying as compared to, put it resolving downwards by half step like this. Oh, yeah. I mean, then you'd be doubling the third here, but whatever. You get the point. Speaking of doubling the third, number 6 is doubling the third. Um, yeah, it's bad. Doubling the third is bad because it's just it's an unsatisfying sound. It defines the chord, and you really only want one of it in there. So here we have, um, alto and tenor both have the third here, and then I forgot what else. Oh yeah, in this chord, the D A, the D minor chord, the F, which is the minor third, is doubled here. So just really bad stuff. You want to avoid this. And speaking of doubling, we also have doubling the leading tone, which is also doubling the third, but the worst way you can do it probably. Right. You just have this alto and tenor leading tone right here. And when they both resolve to the tonic like that, it also creates parallel octaves, which are a big no-no. But it's just such a strong feeling. Like leading tone should be one voice. Otherwise, it just sounds too harsh, basically. Not resolving the leading tone to the tonic in a 5 or a 7 chord. Oh yeah, this is really bad. Like, I don't know who would write anything so despicable. Because you want this to, right? You just need that relationship, but then it goes down to the fifth instead, and it's just okay. Yeah, really bad. Sorry I had to listen to that. Number 3, using too many leaps. Yeah, it's just what is this? Pretty bad. It's just not smooth at all. Everything's jumping all over the place, so the music sounds jarring and disjointed. No sense of flow. And then coming in, oh, I didn't write a caption for it. Number 2 and number 1, basically sharing the number 1 spot is parallel octaves and parallel fifths. You know, So this, the SATB part writing rule that really needs no explanation, just the cardinal sin of part writing in general. Doing this is sure to get you guillotined in the 16th century, so I'd advise against it if you do happen to live in that time period. But yeah, we have the octaves here, jumping up the octaves here, so parallel octaves where I'm circling my cursor, and then fifth into fifth, bad, and then another parallel octave for the soprano and bass here. So yeah, those are the top 10 do's and don'ts of part writing, and see you later.